You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio. Welcome, listeners, to another episode of All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on BQN and the Fandom Podcast Network. I am your host, Amy, and with me today are Christos and Kelvin. Patreon patrons, remember, you can now watch All Good Things as an extended video edit of this very episode at patreon.com/BQN. Well, hello. Happy New Year. How are things going so far, Christos?
It's going great so far. I mean, we're only, 4 days in, but it's been a nice little break. I had a really nice New Year's Eve. I went and saw Varla Jean Merman at Diversionary Theater here in San Diego, and then it was followed by a New Year's Eve party. So it was really fun. You know, anytime you get to spend New Year's Eve with drag queens, it's always great.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my gosh. And Kelvin, how's your New Year's going?
Happy New Year, everybody. I didn't spend my New Year's Eve with drag queens, unfortunately. But fortunately, I did spend it with my beloved next-door neighbours, Matt and Liam. They are just finishing the very huge extension to the house. So we got to enjoy their new living room, kitchen, open plan, kind of christen the new room. That was nice. Yeah, and then there was a lot of fireworks being set off on the canal outside the front of the house. So it was like we had front row seats to a really a good show. So yeah, it was good. But other than that, it's been quite quiet. I'm 4 days into dry January, and I'm absolutely fine with that. Get the booze away from me. No, thank you. I appreciate the loser sign, Christos.
Well,
Amy,
that
how was
sounds
your New
great.
Year?
Oh, thank you. It was very enjoyable. I started the day watching my college football go Utes win victorious over Nebraska. Very excited, 44-22. So that started the day off great. Then I went to a house party to here on the West Coast. We like to celebrate the East Coast time because then it drops at 9 instead of midnight. So I did that, and then I ended up at my wine bar, which is my favorite place to be. So,
If you're that desperate for a drink, you could celebrate Australia's.
yeah, right?
She's on it.
Yes. So did any of you happen to see any pictures or video from the Rose Parade that the Star Trek float was on?
Yeah.
It looked great.
But what about the weather?
I
Yeah, I
know.
was just going to say, I felt really bad because it's like the first big push for the 60th and obviously the Starfleet Academy launch. And it was kind of a wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
I felt bad. Poor George Takei, 80-something years old, wrapped up in plastic. I hope he don't get pneumonia.
Yeah, you know what? I must say, I'm really impressed with the guy who's playing the Klingon in the Starfleet Academy. Kareem, I think his name is.
Yes. Yeah.
He is doing so much promo and he's all over social media. I don't know if he was a previous fan of Star Trek or whether he's just come into it, but he's doing a lot of work to promote. And yeah, he's really engaging as well on social media. He's posted things from Rashid, who's on the view screen, Robin's memes. He's even messaged me.
Yeah.
So he's great with the fans.
Oh, wow. I just saw his Instagram of, him coming, getting picked up in the car and stuff like that. So I have been really enjoying the push from these actors that we don't know, and so we're getting to know them. And that's what's, in my opinion, going to save the show.
Well, let me give you my Ferengi point of view on all this. I'll give you my here's the scam. Guys know that if we love them,
Yep.
they have a meal ticket for a very, 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 very long time on the convention circuit. Now, this guy there, I always get what is the river of come on, Calvin, the Ferengi River of
Oh, the Great River. Well, I was actually just thinking of a suitable rules of acquisition for it.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
know, I
either
know. I was
opportunity
thinking,
plus instinct equals
yeah,
profit, or it never hurts to suck up to the boss.
never, exactly. All of the above. All of the above. Yeah, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure he's a really nice guy and everything, but it's like, yeah, if it's just, it's marketing, it's PR, it's really good. And, you know, these guys do a lot better at the conventions when we know who they are too. So, I mean, just go look at Section 31 to see what happens when it's done wrong.
Yeah, see, and that really, I think, gives credit to the TNG crew with starting with Major Barrett, bringing Marina Sirtis under her wing and teaching her, you need to start right now. And that's when TNG started conventions before it even started. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Speaking of TNG, did you see Brent Steiner and Jonathan Frakes are launching their own podcast?
I
yeah,
know. I hope we
I
don't
couldn't
lose
find it
any
on Apple
listeners.
Podcast. Oh,
It's
wait.
not there yet. It's not there yet, but it
Okay.
is the promo dropped this morning on YouTube. I think I sent it to you
Mhm.
guys in our chat, but it's only about 3 minutes long, just kind of
Mm.
introducing what it's all about. But it actually looks pretty good. I feel like they're going to give the enterprise guys a little, they're kind of getting in on their market there. So we'll see what happens.
Well, that and Gates' show is interviews. I mean,
Yeah,
they're all doing the same thing, so
yeah, yeah. And
but I love it. I'm here for
I
it.
was going to say capacity's there if you got it.
Yeah.
So, but this one's a YouTube and an audio. So we'll see how I end up digesting it.
So I guess that means we've now got an Enterprise, a DS9, a Voyager, and a TNG Stars podcast all
Yeah.
in. I know we already had TNG with Gates, but if you think this one with them, was it the eighth rule? Sirox?
Yeah. Yep.
Seventh
Yeah,
rule,
Evan.
seventh rule. Thank you. And
Delta
Delta
Flyers,
Flyers
which is
and Decon
now,
Chamber.
yep, Decon
Yeah.
Chamber.
Yeah. It's interesting though that some of them are directly about Star Trek, like more like the Enterprise one and the Seventh Rule, whereas Gates and even it looks like Brent and Jonathan Frakes is going to be more about Hollywood stories, celebrity encounters, things like that.
Mm.
Kind of that too. I think one of them mentioned the absurdity of Hollywood and all that. Obviously, there'll be Trek talk here and there, and the guests that they bring on will probably be Trek adjacent a lot of times. But it's not necessarily going to be like, oh, we're going to talk about episode 402.
Yeah, it won't
Yeah,
be a
Christos can't
review like
remember.
Delta Flyers or Seventh Rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it.
Christos, will you please introduce what we're talking about today?
We are revisiting our genetic engineering series. This is actually part 7. This is one of those ones that we're kind of getting up there, and it's not a new one for sure. And we're going to be discussing Star Trek Con, the audio drama. So this will be interesting because I think we've already covered Space Seed, so we're kind of continuing in this series. Star Trek Con explores the untold events on Ceti Alpha V, chronicling Khan's descent from a superhuman visionary into a vengeful villain that we see in The Wrath of Khan.
All right. So this is filling in the gap between those years. I just wanted to throw it out there. Like, this is new information that we're getting. So what was the most satisfying storyline to you that we got from this audio drama?
I really liked that they put diversity into the Augment characters. They weren't all this evil, super bred. Now, not that I don't enjoy what Enterprise did with the Augment episodes. I love that arc, but they were just evil baddies. They were very two-dimensional. Whereas these, some of them, didn't really have a bad bone in them. They were like nice kids, and they were just in a bad situation and died, and it was
Yeah.
tragic. So just to kind of run through some of the characters that we had the lesbian couple, Ursula and Mado. That was great in itself.
Yes, it
They had
was so
the
good.
tragedy of the miscarriage of the baby. We had Rixa and Silvana, They were the doomed lovers. Richter was the artist whose augmented DNA only enhanced his artistic ability. So, and then he was the one who unfortunately had his neck stabbed by Khan. Bless him. Erica was the botanist. Paolo was the one who was an engineer who made the scanner work a little bit better, and he was the one who spotted Ceti Alpha 6 being unstable. And then you have the true, the evil one, the two-dimensional, the Ivan, the Russian one, interestingly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I felt like that was a little bit stereotypical, to, like, cast him, as a Russian descent and have him be evil, so a little bit throwback to, I don't know, I was gonna say TOS, but that would be wrong because of Chekhov.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed n not well, of course, we didn't know, but the Elborians, I think I really enjoyed that element of it, that, hey, there were other aliens there, and, we learned about a whole 'nother species, that we didn't know about. I really liked the character of Delmonda. I feel like he was coded gay. Uh, I really got a vibe from him, but, just the way he was. But, yeah, I really enjoyed that dynamic and kind of I think I like telepathy and the telekinesis and all that, that they've showed in species before through the Vulcans and the Betazoid and whatnot. So I like to see another telepathic species.
Yeah.
What about you,
Yeah,
Amy?
that was definitely one of the things that I found most satisfying was learning about a whole new species that we haven't learned about. So I thought that was really great to add that in, and like how they had to work together and how Khan and they were like disciplining Ivan together. Was it Ivan? Yeah, because Ivan killed one of the Elborians. So, and them building the ship, and then the Elborians like telling them about this water aquifer that was, basically their lifeline in the caves and stuff. So, them working together when Khan is so typically this vengeful villain that it's like, was he really? So, and we'll talk about that later, but I love the um contrast of the Elborians that so want to work together and Khan being this, these are my people.
I also
Yeah.
think they did a really good job in doing what I almost call a strange new worlds. Of they've taken a very old character and made them more modern in terms of storytelling. So the way Marla McGivers has come across, completely different to how she was in Space Seed. She has points of view, opinions, hero moments, motivation, and is just such a more rounded character than was able to be portrayed in Space Seed. So I think they wronged and right, much like they did with Nurse Chapel in Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, I definitely really liked Marla McGivers in this. Like, I have her as the con whisperer. Like, she could just calm him down, you know, think things through. This is where we are. This planet is going to die, and you want to talk about a future? No, I loved that part where she like flipped out on Con and, because she's carrying his baby, and he's like, oh, everything's going to be fine. And she's like, no. So and she's that counterpart to him, and it righted a wrong.
Yeah, I think, excuse me, I think it, updates and evolves. You can't write these people the way they were written in the 1960s necessarily, or if you did, it would not be that interesting, or it could be, just, it just wouldn't land. So I like that they evolved her in that general sense, and made her, kind of a little bit of yin and yang together when they're together. And it's funny, Khan does not come across necessarily as this vengeful person at all, but he does come across like I like what you said there about being the leader. He does not like other people. Like, I'm in charge of this. So when the Elborians kind of come onto the scene, and it's like this idea of working together, there's kind of like this, power struggle between Delmonda and Khan throughout. And it's kind of like you're trying to figure out who's playing who.
Mm-hmm. What did you think about the Ursula Marla sort of competition of who's going to be Khan's number one female, but not that way. But, I sort of got this major competition between Marla and Ursula.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I feel like maybe Ursula was a little bit threatened by Marla because I don't think Marla was competing with Ursula, but I think Ursula was competing with Marla.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
like it's more like, hey, who are you, this Starfleet woman? Can we even really trust you? Are you a plant? Because I think that was one of the thoughts toward the beginning. Are you here to spy on us? And Marla had hidden some of the fact that she had some technologies with her that they didn't know about. So
Yeah.
there's that suspicion there. But at the same time, I feel like that trust builds as the series goes. So I think that's just another one of the dramatic plots there.
And that relationship between Khan and Ursula has been built over years. So that threat of someone coming in to usurp your position in the hierarchy of leadership
Yeah.
was genuine. And she did come across throughout as being quite jaded, a little bit, can't be bothered. She certainly grieved her relationship with Mado once that was over. But even when they were together at the beginning, she just didn't really want Marla or having any command decisions. So yeah, that was just what I got from her character. She wasn't a very likable character, whereas Mado was, I felt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mado was the rational one. Yeah. Yeah. How about those Ceti eels? I know you have it. The sound effects of the whole fight where they were hunting the queen. That But we learned that there's a queen.
Yeah, I like that. I like that they had maybe 2 episodes where they were quite prominent, the discovery of them and then the episode with the queens later, which I was really impressed by because I thought it would have been easy to make it all about them because they featured so prominently in Wrath of Khan. So the fact it was just a small story element, I thought it was really brave of them not to lean on it too much.
Yeah, I agree with that because the eel is one of the things that kind of grosses me out about Wrath of Khan. And if we had 8 episodes centered around that, I don't think I would have enjoyed the podcast that much.
Absolutely. And the fact that only it was Richter one that had, and so we only saw that Wrath of Khan scene just once of infecting or, crawling in Richter's ear. When you're right, it could have happened to this person, and that would have been the mystery, but they chose not to do that, which I think was really wise. And we just, so it can, with the autopsy, manipulate and eat the brain, and then you say something and then you got this. So then that sets up Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
Why now he knows how to use these eels to control.
I was expecting Khan to start using those eels in the way that he did in Wrath of Khan with Terrell and Chekhov. Just remembering what happened to poor Richter, I didn't feel that was enough of it can do that, to it actually being a tactical aid of making people follow my orders. I mean, he could have done it to Ivan for a punishment. So it made me think better of Khan, the fact he wasn't that evil.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point because he doesn't really, the events that turn him evil, or you want to say turn him evil or make him vengeful, it kind of all accumulates at the end, right? So it's kind of a slow burn. This happens and then this happens. It's like the situation just kind of keeps on going through these degradations. And, obviously with the way it kind of finishes, at least from his point of view, that's like the last straw, right? So,
yeah. Before we go into Khan too much, what did you all think of the Dr. Lear kind of Sulu Tuvok kind of aspect throughout, the present time, if you like? What did you think of that, Amy?
I found it interesting how Dr. Lear would always be like, who does he think they are? They're not commanding me. They're not, I'm not. And I'm like, girl, you're Starfleet. What are you talking about? You're in Starfleet. Like, so I didn't understand that. So let me just ask the question. She's a student doing her doctoral whatever thing. And so she's trying to investigate, was there negligence on Kirk's part for not recognizing if Ceti Alpha, if it
Well,
was a stable system.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not just negligence. Was it intentional? That
Right.
was part of it, like
Ephesians or something. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
they thought that maybe he
So I
did it
thought that was
knowing that would happen.
But
Yeah,
then
I thought that
why
was a
is
really
she
good
like,
character point because this is one of the things that fans have been nitpicking Wrath of Khan about. Planets don't just blow up on their own. If they're unstable because they're coming to the end, it takes thousands of years.
Yeah.
So the whole, did Spock scan the planet? Did the Enterprise know about it? The fact that they then used the Alborians as they caused it after the Enterprise had gone, it was perfect. But I
Yeah.
thought it was a very valid storyline to silence people like me who are like, "Oh, that's stupid. Planets don't just blow up."
Yeah. I think going back to the original question there, though, I really did enjoy that they brought Sulu and Tuvok in to kind of bring that Starfleet point of view, right? Because otherwise, this is not really a Star Trekky tale in the sense that we're just on Ceti Alpha V with Khan, right? You kind of still have that Starfleet and Federation presence throughout the story as being kind of told as a little bit of a tribunal type of flashback ish kind of thing. So I like the way that it kind of frames the story as a, investigation and whatnot. And you're kind of keeping that, like that Star Trek, Starfleet feel to it.
Mhm.
well, and we get because Sulu's there, like, was actually there,
Yeah.
you know? So when he's defensive, it's only mirrors how we are feeling. What do you mean? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we did it right, you know? And so that plays off very well.
Yeah. Especially like the whole well, you served under Kirk, you're biased,
Yes.
you're almost covering up for your boss kind of thing, which was, not the case. But Sulu did have some pretty strong feelings of his own that, kind of thought a little bit through as the investigation played out.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, I mean, apologies to any listeners who are listening to this as promo, but I am going to talk about a reveal at the end. So, it is revealed that Dr. Leah is Khan's daughter, Carly, under a different name, who escaped Ceti Alpha V and has now come back looking for moments from her birth and to tell the tale about her parents and find out more about her father. So I said in the previous episode of All Good Things, rather cryptically, because I didn't want to spoil that reveal for Kristin, but she's not here, so we can say it. I saw it coming a mile off.
You did?
Was it a surprise to either of you two?
Yes.
A little bit.
Really?
Did
It's
not see it
Well,
coming at all.
it had to get a little further in the story for me, Kelvin, in the sense that oh, we're building a spaceship and we're gonna get some people. Okay, so then when the idea that there was a way off the planet, then I started to wonder, I wonder if that's who she is. But in the
Mm,
beginning, you don't know that at all, right? You
yeah.
don't know if there's aliens involved and they're building spaceships and
As soon as we hear about the Elborians arriving and there's a ship available or they're building it, I thought, right, that's it. That's who she is. Now, the surprise to me, because in my head, jumping ahead, it was Marla, while pregnant, escapes. And then Leah, Carly, is born in space and has never met Khan. So we hadn't had the flash forward. We didn't know what time
yeah.
period it was. So when Marla dies, that was a genuine surprise and a real
Mm.
sad moment. But then you see that Carly was, how old was she? Like 5 or 6 or something when she escaped with Delmonda. So that element was a surprise. But Dr. Leah being Carly, I was like, Yeah, this
Yeah.
is her motivation.
Yeah, I kind of felt like I didn't think it was Marla. I truly believe that Marla died, I guess, as it's revealed in Wrath of Khan. With it being Kali, yeah, I guess, I mean, the tragedy is that Khan thinks the ship blew up, right? And that, she died not knowing that she got away. And it's probably like, like the final straw. I mean, it's just like like I was saying earlier, like one tragedy after another. And like, this guy's just getting kind of beat down as the episodes play out. So, I did I mean, I think it was a little bit of a surprise to some people, and other people figured it out, and other people figured it out at different times. But I did like the idea of it being her.
Yeah. Just to point out as well, yes, I know that they says Marla dies in Wrath of Khan, but I thought they were going to do some kind of retcon with it, and it was Khan's way of kind of making sense of the situation to say he lost his wife to this planet. So yeah, I still found the episode where she dies at the end, which I think is either episode 7 or 8. Really, it was crushingly sad.
Yeah. I mean, it's also kind of horrific too with the actual attack or whatever with the eels or whatever those things were in the water. Ugh.
Mm.
So I'm just going to be a little honest. The last episode, I think I might have fell asleep. So I'm trying to piece together. I do remember the reveal that it was Khan's daughter, but so did Marla take Kali away from Khan?
No,
No.
They
No.
were all in the ship.
no,
No.
Marla died relatively early on. There was a huge progression of 3, 4, maybe 5 years between the penultimate episode and the last episode.
Yeah.
So Carly was born, and then Marla died almost immediately after.
Right.
And
Okay, I do
Widow
remember that.
became like the guardian. She became almost like a little midwife for Carly.
Yeah, they were basically kind of keeping Marla's body alive just so she could give birth.
That's right. So then she wasn't raised
She was raised for the first
Khan?
5 years with
with
Khan.
Khan? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so she knew her father.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
was
she
all
was
these
almost like
conversations about poetry. Who's your favorite poet? So this was your mother's favorite.
Yes.
it was kinda like the princess of their colony,
Right.
She was adored by she's kind of adored by everybody,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she was the future. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you for catching me up.
Everybody got that? I loved that Tuvok is the one that kind of figures it out and then confronts her because it's very Tuvok, right? It's
Mhm.
very Voyager.
Yeah.
So I loved that piece of it. And it doesn't kind of just make Tim Russ's involvement be kind of a throwaway stunt casting to have somebody we know
Yeah.
in there, but
He's
he
in
actually
character.
has a purpose. Yeah.
Mhm.
I actually love and I wish we'd had more of it. I love the flashback episode of Voyager, and I love the Excelsior as a storyline with Sulu as the captain and Tuvok on the ship. And I wish there'd be more of that. I know there was talk of making that a TV series around the time Flashback was made, but I kind of feel like that was a little bit of a lost opportunity. I know I have some comic books from way back in the day that take place on the Excelsior with Sulu. So I guess I really enjoyed the Sulu Tuvok involvement. And like I said, and it wasn't just throwaway. Sulu was there. Tuvok is kind of our security and doing, the investigation kind of thing of his own. So I loved that it really added to the story.
Do you think there was a respectful exclusion or a missed opportunity for not putting Janice Rand in the Excelsior setting, but obviously with a different voice because Grace has passed? Do you think it served no purpose, or do you think that would have been nice to have Commander Rand knocking about?
My thought is that it would make it would be another character to service in that part of the story, and you only had so much time.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, it did leave me wanting a little bit more of that Excelsior, but I think based on my own bias that I just told you guys that I really like the Excelsior as a potential storyline there. But I think it'd be kind of like fluffing too much fan service in to put another. Plus, you'd have to recast.
Yeah.
If she had been alive to do it, maybe it would have been on the table. But to make it a recast on top of that, then it's just like better to leave it out.
Let's talk about the purpose of this audio drama was to analyze if Khan is truly a hero or a villain. And this audio drama really sets him up to be this visionary man. He's this leader. He's got all of his people, followers, minions, wherever time he's thinking about them. But he's got this future. Let's build. We are here. We're gonna make it great. I can see this Colosseum. Like, he's this visionary man. And then we get him much later as the villain. So, Christos, you'd mentioned that it was sort of a slow burn. What were some of those moments where he has this transformation of, oh, I'm not going to be this visionary man. I'm going to be a vengeful man.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably count it out for you, and I'm gonna do this all by memory, but, first off, people start to die. Some of his followers start to die. I think that's number 1. And
Mm.
then 2, the problems with the planet because of the Alborian ship. They start to have, the meteor showers and whatnot, and I think more people die, and then they get into it with the Alborians because they're gonna go conquer them, and more of Khan's people go. And then it starts getting even heavier. We kind of have the betrayal from Ivan, and then
Mm.
Marla dies, and then eventually he thinks that uh, his daughter died. I mean, I'm probably leaving a few out in between there, but those are all kind of key milestones that we hear in the audio drama. And each one is just kind of it's another dig, it's another dig, it's another dig. And even to the point where he thinks his people aren't going to survive in general, like they're all going to die.
Mhm.
That's just something that's probably like, closing in on his mind in some ways that he has failed as a leader. Is probably another piece of that. So,
I
did I
my
miss anything there, Calvin?
I don't think you did. But to take it to the beginning, I was really sympathetic with
Yeah.
Khan as a character. He arrives as this genuinely accomplished and capable leader, and people love him and they adore him. So he's clearly very good at what he does. He has earned this respect. And I know he's earned that through the horrors of World War III. And, it's touched upon. They name lots of cities and countries in the world where there were these battles on Earth. But he did come across as almost a bit of a victim of his own conditioning. So, what I loved about Khan's character was the education that he got from Marla of
Mhm.
a different way of thinking.
Mhm.
And it was a very gradual journey as the episodes went on that Khan found himself battling against what would have been his normal course of action as an augment leader, to conquer the Elborians or to work with them or to not punish Ivan or to let Marla go on away missions. All of these things that started with a little bit of an argument and she would convince him of a new way of thinking took Khan on this really tragic journey to the point where he almost became a genuinely good man. And
Mhm.
then you get all those domino effects that you just said, Christoph, which tipped him over the edge and turned him into the tragic, vengeful, bitter man that we know and love with the beautiful chest.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, Kelvin. And when we meet him, getting stranded and these ideas, I almost wish that he would have removed his Khan, yes, my lord. Like those things that I guess were carryover from the war,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Is that so? Because he was like their general, and I'm like, if they would have softened that for me, Like, okay, we're in a new place. These, they don't have to call me my lord. And Marla was like, I'm not going to address, no, that's not who you are to me. No, I'm not calling you my lord. So maybe just for me, if they had softened that, it would have, because every time they would say, my lord, yes, my lord, yes, Khan, 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 Khan. And I'm like, oh, he's the villain still. So I didn't get that teeter-totter as much because every time it was this trigger of he's the villain.
Yeah. I was afraid that they were going to try to, romanticize Khan a little bit too much and do what you were talking about there, make him softened, make him
Mhm.
this other person. But at the end of the day, he's still an evil dictator, conqueror type of person. Now, the tragedy, of course, is that he was bred that way. He was augmented to be that kind of the, you want to go back to our topic here, like literally genetic engineering gone wrong because this guy got too crazy, right? Almost took over the earth. So as they get to Ceti Alpha V, those instincts are still there. You saw it he tried to take over the Enterprise and Space Seed, and he gives to the planet, and he's still like, I'm still number one. And when the Alborians show up, his instinct still is to take over and dictate. So
Mhm.
that bit of programming is there throughout, and it's not, as much as Marla kind of brings out a softer side and maybe kind of has her own special relationship with him. You know, all the way to the end, he's still like, I'm Khan, I'm calling the shots. And, you kind of have Ivan, I think, was the one questioning, how good a leader he was. You've led us to this defeat and that defeat and this defeat.
Yes.
And, and you maybe shouldn't be our leader, but, at, you know, at the end of the day, Ivan, gets his comings, I guess.
Mm.
But I don't know. It's like, he definitely is. Like I said, he's not a good guy, but I guess the tragedy is that it wasn't nature or nurture. He was born that way, right? I think that's the way he was bred. It wasn't the environment that made him that way. It was really who he was.
So then let me ask you, does that then remove any responsibility or judgment that we have on Captain Kirk because this tragedy was inevitable because of how he was genetically engineered? Would Khan
Well,
always end up
I
as vengeful?
that's a good point. I think, I'm interested to hear what Kelvin thinks this one too. I think that kind of makes Kirk's sentence at the end of Space Seed make sense. That, okay, we're going to have some compassion for this guy because he was made the way he is. He doesn't have a control over that. And rather than kill him or put him in a prison forever, the idea was to give him and his people a place to thrive. Now, the only thing he couldn't have counted for was the Alborians coming along. Now, the only thing I really wonder about, and this is a good question here, is Starfleet negligent for not having checked up on Khan? That's like the one thing that doesn't get revisited. Kelvin, what are you
Mm.
shaking your head? What do you think about all that?
I'm agreeing. I'm nodding. They are negligent for not checking up on him. And there's so much reference throughout all of Star Trek to like, oh, well, he'll be the next Khan Singh. And that judgment is based on Khan during World War III and the atrocities on Earth that led
Mm.
to the millions of people dying and half the planet being nuked. So it's not all just about what he did to the Enterprise in Space Seed and what he did on the Reliance in Wrath of Khan. That's a point of view that's quite particular to Captain Kirk and the crew. So he is a bad man, and that is the way he's wired. And it's interesting when you talk about the nature nurture argument. People always nurture is such a strong factor in development, but when it's an augment, it swings the other way, and it's all about the nature. So I have issue with Kirk depositing them on the planet because it almost seemed like it was just Kirk's idea to do that. It didn't. I don't recall any scenes in Space Seed where he checked it with Starfleet Command. These are, by very definition, incredibly dangerous people, and we don't know who would rock up in orbit of Ceti Alpha V, even if it was completely stable, and beam down to say hello? He would have captured them, got a starship, and come back. So it was such a gamble that it would work out. So to me, it's almost like Kirk was sympathetic to Khan, that, he just wants somewhere to be in charge of. Let me give him a planet. That's a bit weird.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I mean, you could argue that maybe there were buoys around the planet. We've heard of that on Star Trek before, right? Where there's like, stay away from here. And that when the meteor shower from the other planet blowing up hit, that perhaps all those buoys were destroyed. But that's me just kind of trying to make headcanon and make sense.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it does come across as a little bit like, you can also say, oh, did we miss the communications with Starfleet? Did it happen off screen? Blah, blah, blah. But you would think he would have been, from a historical point of view, this really important thing to Earth history. And so when Earth's leaders found out that, oh, here's this guy who almost conquered the planet, and Jim Kirk's got him on the Enterprise right now, you might think that there might have been a little bit more involvement from Starfleet Command or the Federation on what to do about that.
So again, continuity and chronology, take it back 10, 15 years, and we've got La'an. So the legacy of the eugenics wars, World War III, whatever we're calling it these days, on the offspring of Augments who are still in human society, they're known. So to know that Khan has been discovered alive and is alive and well, in inverted commas, on this planet, there should have been a huge amount of interest. Are we saying that this was some kind of, maybe Starfleet Command covered it up once Kirk filed his report with them, so that the general, it was said in Space Seed he was absolute ruler of a third of the planet. That's, he's a big guy.
Yeah. And they mentioned in the audio drama just a passing line that brought Christos, Strange New Worlds, episode 2, season 2, the trial.
At Ashley Perispera?
Yeah. Like, all of that came rushing in because they made a comment like, oh, well, there's a percentage of augment in many people and many within Starfleet right now, was the comment that Dr. Leah said. And so I was like, that just all came rushing in, like all the Strange New World stuff. I was like, okay, yep, this is totally tying in, and I loved
some
that.
Illyrians in there, yep.
Yeah, well, to answer your question of why they didn't go check up on them, that's because they didn't have any Lower Decks or California class starships at the time. That didn't come till later to check up on things. So this is a cautionary tale.
Imagine Mariner going down to check on him.
What the F?
So let's move into our assimilations and regenerations. Assimilations are things that we want to assimilate, that we liked about it, and regenerations, we're sending them back. Hoo-hoo. So I just want to start off by recognizing the major change of opinion that I have of Marla McGivers. Not very good. We talked about it. Leaving, knowing her from Space Seed, this gets her. She's so intelligent. She's, as I said, the con whisperer, because she is level-headed, and we do get to see her in a lover role as well. So this lady's got it all going. So that's my assimilation.
Yeah. I will, couple of things. First off, I'm just going to quickly comment. I love the production of the whole thing. It left me wanting to come back every week for the story. In fact, I think I was listening on Monday mornings or Tuesday mornings. They would drop here, and I would literally listen to it the first, right away. So if you got me checking in on something right away, you're doing all right. And I think I'll just double down on the lens of the Excelsior and the storyline as being the way to look back and tell the story. I really, really enjoyed that aspect. It's what I needed, I think, to get into it at first, because I needed some some point of familiarity. And I think it starts off pretty much with Sulu and whatnot. So I really think that was kind of like what I needed to just give it a chance and then dive down in. So yeah, the Excelsior storyline.
Nice.
Yeah. The format was great. I was doing a lot of driving for work at the time, and I really, if I had a long journey on a Tuesday morning, I'd be like, oh, great, I can listen to the new episode as I'm going. So yes, I can listen to podcasts, I can listen to audiobooks, but it was richer. It was just like an audio episode because of the different actors, the sound effects, the visual, the production. But part of the production I loved was the musical score. I thought it was so unique. I thought it had real gravity about it and suspense building. So the composers were Marcus and Samuel Begala, who are all over Instagram if you want to go and find them. And they've been on a number of podcasts themselves actually talking about it. So well done them. And something else we've not mentioned, it was free.
Oh,
So there was no
Yeah.
charge.
yeah.
It was
That's an assimilation.
it was a gift to us. We didn't have to subscribe to anything.
Yes, good
Pay
point.
for it. It was just there on YouTube.
I mean, there were commercials, right?
Yes.
Here on
Commercials
the
on
BQN,
podcasts, maybe.
we don't have commercials. I still think this will get kind of repackaged as in like an audiobook kind of thing and dropped at some point. I think one more I'll just add in there is like, this being an audio drama, um, it's nice to see Star Trek stepping up to the level that I think Star Wars does their audio books.
Mm.
If you listen to a Star Wars audiobook, it's kind of like the old Star Trek audiobooks from the 90s, where you have sound effects, you have licensed music in there, you have and then the voice actor in in the current Star Treks, they'll do the voices correctly, very good voice imitators if it's a known character.
Mm.
I think where I'm going with all that is that it really takes you one step further into that world and kind of makes it better than reading a book
Mhm.
because it's that you're really experiencing it. So it's nice to see Star Trek there finally, and I really hope they have some planned next
Mm.
audio books.
Yeah.
I hope there's something in flight already, and not just we're going to get one in 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, this format could literally be our Star Trek legacy that we wanted. Just
Yeah.
get a handful of the older actors, 2 or 3, give them a little story. You've got the original actors there with sound effects and
Yeah.
things. That's enough.
Yes. Come on, give us more.
Fire phasers.
All right. Any regenerations?
Oh, I've said before about the noises. I get it. You need to visualize what's going on, but it's a bit like, Scream and Final Destination when someone gets stabbed and you hear that.
Yes.
It's horrible. It turns my stomach. I
Yeah.
know someone's having their throat slit, but I don't need to hear it.
Yeah.
You're literally describing it in the dialogue, or it can sometimes be more thought-provoking to make you actually imagine that that's just happened rather than it being such a slap in the face. So
Mhm.
the gory sound effects I could have done without.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo you on that because I remember, I think it was Richter when he was getting chased through the forest, and it was like the running through the leaves and the branches hitting. Like I get that, but then we're hearing him breathe, and then this eel. I mean, it just was so much, and I'm like, yeah, they could have we could have heard him running, but we don't need this extra wheezing and the saliva and the eel and
Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes that stuff all gets overplayed in audiobooks. One of the things that happens I hear sometimes is when someone's drinking, they'll purposely have them slurp in your ear as in the
Yes.
book, and I'm like, "Oh my god, you're
Oh my
literally
God.
triggering me here. That is something I cannot stand as and you're literally forcing me to listen to it deliberately."
Yeah.
So I agree. I would say one of my only regenerations, and I think I mentioned this before to you guys at some other point, is it seemed like it could have been 1 or 2 episodes longer. There were certain elements of the story that felt rushed at time, and I think it could use a little bit more exposition to make it little bit more cohesive. I don't know if that was deliberate or, hey, this is what it is. We have a 9-episode budget here, and this, but yeah, it could have been maybe 1 to 2 episodes longer, or maybe the episodes could have been a little bit longer in order to flesh out a few more story elements that I felt like were just rushed.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, let's get to some trivia. Now, this Star Trek Con premiered on Star Trek Day, September 8th, 2025. Now, that's going to be important in the next trivia. So, Star Trek Day, September 8th, 2025, and had a total of 9 weekly episodes. All right, Kelvin, you want to do the next one?
Okay, so Nicholas Meyer first conceived of this concept in June 2017, and it was to be a 3-episode TV miniseries called Ceti Alpha V. However, after the initial proposal to Alex Kurtzman, CBS and Viacom forced the project into limbo for several years. And then thankfully, the project pivoted into an audio format, which Nicholas Meyer announced on Star Trek Day in September 2022.
Yes.
Only
So, this is
3 years.
a big
Only 3
Star
years.
Trek Day podcast.
Yeah, it is kind of funny that it's like it took 8 years for that to basically happen in whatever
Right?
form we got, right?
Yeah.
Um, let's see. While Ricardo Montalban and Benedict Cumberbatch previously played the role, Naveen Andrews is the first actor of South Asian descent to portray the character, bringing a level of ethnic authenticity to the role that aligns with the character's chronological heritage. Yeah, I think it's a little, it's a little bit cringy and spacey that Khan's wearing like dark makeup and whatnot, and they don't. At least they did not repeat that in Wrath of Khan, but they definitely were making him darker and originally in Space Seed, and so and I mean Benedict was just a complete miscast just yeah. I've never seen a movie once where I liked it the first time I watched it, and then the more I thought about it, it fell apart in my head. So, yeah, this is kind of, next level. It really does fit the role, and he was really easy to listen to. He has a really nice voice, and I enjoyed his
Mhm.
his performance.
Although they kind of did fall into the trope of the evil British accent.
Trope?
We're not evil. Not anymore.
Mm, not anymore.
We're past all that.
We're evil now.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, let's not go there.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get to your final thoughts of the audio drama and who did it better. Because this genetic engineering, guys, we have covered the original series Space Seed, Deep Space Nine's Dr. Bashir, I presume, Strange New Worlds, Ghosts of Illyria, Deep Space Nine's Statistical Probabilities, Voyager's The Fight, and Prodigy's Masquerade. It's a
So first
big
off, I'm
list.
noticing we don't have a TNG in this series yet. Would Ninth Degree count as? I just
Yeah.
watched that one.
Masterpiece Society would count.
Ooh, that needs to. Ooh, that's a good Troy one.
That Troy episode. I knew you were going there, Amy. Yes, that Troy. Let's go.
You can't say that wins already. We've not reviewed it yet.
Oh, okay.
We now know what episode 8 in this series is going to be.
Right.
There's some good ones here. Okay, so I know who my top 2 are. It's Dr. Bashir, I presume,
Mhm.
and Ghosts of Illyria. So
Ooh. Christos, those are your 2 favorite, Deep Space Nine and Strange New Worlds. I don't know which you're gonna choose.
yeah, I'm going to go with Dr. Bashir, I presume, because I think I just watched this episode and I haven't seen Ghosts of Illyria in a hot second. So, um, that's what I would say.
Hmm. Calvin?
I think I also have to go for Dr. Bashir, I presume. I think if anything, I was going to pick Space Seed because it's the original, it starts the conversation, it sets up the entire premise of the Augments. But it's just such a good episode, Dr. Bashir, I presume, of what it does for Bashir's character. The kind of the pivot to give him more, because he is a little bit bland until we find out this about him. And then it unlocks so much more character moments. And it was a really funny episode with the B story with Dr. Zimmerman and Ron and Lita and everything. So it's just a good DS9 episode, which came on the back of this massive two-parter In Purgatory's Shadow by Inferno's Light. So to get that stand up to them was great. So yeah, I'm with you. But in terms of final thoughts for this, for me, it's a big thank you to Star Trek for giving it us. And, we use this term big swings, don't we, when we talk of Strange New Worlds. This was a big swing in terms of format. And this one hit. Home run.
Yeah. And I will say it is a little bit unfair to pull Star Trek Con into this because that's like a 9-episode deal versus everything, so content-wise, this is like a whole story, a whole season, whatever you want to call it, for a whole series versus one episode. But yeah, I'll still go with my pick. Amy, how about you?
That's a good point that we are getting this movie. I mean, even more than a movie, you're right, like a season of episodes, like, oh, wow. And it covers a lot. So, and a huge thank you as well. I'm going to just mirror what Kelvin says. That's absolutely huge thank you. And especially, I think it's meaningful because I'm not a big TOS fan. So to have this missing gap still be awesome and very cool. Because I was like you, Christos, like, all right, oh, here it is. Let's listen to it, right when it dropped. So well done, Star Trek Con. Now, who covered it better? You guys are so funny because I've chosen different episodes. My top 2 that I'm going between is Deep Space Nine's Statistical Probabilities or Prodigy's Masquerade.
I knew you'd choose that.
Yeah, she's a Prodigy girl.
I just love that one because he's like picking and choosing. This is the ideal of genetic engineering. Like, well, I want this. And that was fun to explore. But with statistical probabilities, you really get a feeling for those that were augmented without their permission, right? They happened when they were kids. Parents chose to do that. And it brings about this level of mercy and tenderness that because they want to be productive members of society, but they can't, because they were, So, all right, I'm going to choose Prodigy's Masquerade. I just love that one. What's happening on BQN, you ask? We're not just a network. We're a universe of exploration, entertainment, and deep dives into the topics you love. Here's your star map to the sonic adventures awaiting you. Let's chart the Star Trek cosmos with all good things. Embark on a comprehensive journey through the entire Star Trek universe with the insightful crew of Amy, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristin. From classic to current, they cover it all. Galaxy class, engage! Stephen and Stefan pilots this Alpha Quadrant mission, meticulously covering all aspects of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Infinite diversity. Stay current with the newest Star Trek frontiers alongside Chrissy and Thad. Union Federation. Whether your allegiance lies with Starfleet or the Planetary Union, Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley offer a unified front, discussing both current Star Trek and the truly Trek at heart, the Orville. Crack open that book with Peter and the Trek Book Club podcast. Delve into a rich tapestry of Star Trek's beta canon. What's the tea, Bev? Christos spills the latest Trek news and fandom insights with an essential LGBTQIA+ perspective, complete with engaging guest interviews. Our visual voyages that you can find on YouTube as well as podcasts are Trek Masters. Think you're a Starfleet Academy graduate? Test your knowledge with Davey and MC's challenging Star Trek quiz show. And the View Screen. Tune in live on Sundays for your dose of a Trek-inspired talk show. Kelvin and Amy host new 8-week seasons each spring and fall. But beyond the final frontier, we have Bargain Bin Gamer. Davey and Mitch, your self-proclaimed gamer guides, lead you to digital treasures, unearthing and reviewing the most affordable video game gems. Cinema Z. Grab your metaphorical popcorn for Mark and Matt's cinematic deep dives, unearthing overlooked films that demand your attention. History with the Zalogis. In order to never repeat it, tune in as Chrissy and Jason deliver bite-sized snippets of historical events from around the globe and transformational journeys. Host Lex Rosa explores what it means to embrace authenticity in the face of societal expectations. You can unlock deeper levels of engagement with our exclusive patron perks. The Hive Mind is where you can join our random script readings, live reaction shows, and roundtable discussions. You can also now watch All Good Things as an extended video edit and get a background look into the creation of a podcast. Also, check out our back catalog of It's Green and Amy's Math Moments. Stay connected to our ever-expanding galaxy of content by following BQN Podcasts on Instagram, Bluesky, YouTube, and Discord. We appreciate you choosing BQN to fill your auditory needs. Thank you for listening. Assimilate the audio. Kelvin, what are we going to be talking about next week?
Okay, I'm really excited. It's 2026. It's a brand new year. So I think it's time for a brand new series on all good things. And, I've never been watching an episode of Star Trek and just said, this really reminds me of that other episode of Star Trek. And I know Enterprise used to get this a lot. And sometimes they get called a do-over or lazy or whatever. But I thought it's interesting let's explore that a little more. So I'm launching a series called Deja Vu, where we take these two similar episodes. Does mean we're going to have to watch them both to get prepped. But we can talk about the similarities, the differences, which came first and which were better ultimately. Maybe even, have some of us stand up for one episode, others for another. So we're going to start that next week with part 1, and we're going to be comparing TNG's Face of the Enemy with DS9's Second Skin. So it's time to get our actresses in the prosthetics.
Do we get to cover the horrors of the TNG cargo bay, transfigurations versus epics and Worf just constantly getting his back broken and
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. Save that for a future episode.
Well, we would love to hear what you thought of today's show, and there are many ways you can do this. You can join our Facebook group, the BQN Collective. You can join our Discord server, or you can follow the network on Bluesky and Instagram at BQN Podcast to continue our discussions there. You can find the links and invite code in the show notes. So, Christos, where can people find you when you are flying around the Excelsior with Captain Sulu and Tuvok?
Mm-hmm. In that Janeway role. You can find me in our Discord server, our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, and over in Instagram at What's the T-Bev. I have not been paying good attention to Bluesky. I don't know. I just can't. Kelvin, where can people find you when you're not joining an Elborian gay cult?
When I'm not doing that, you can find me in the BQN Collective Facebook group, or you can come and find and chat with me directly on the socials at Kelvin's Timeline. And Amy, where can people find you when you are not being used to mother all of the augments that Khan needs because the other women can't do it?
They cannot. Well, when I'm not doing that, you can find me here on the network, co-hosting Union Federation. We will be covering the Starfleet Academy episode review, so that will be coming out very soon, since that's starting January 15th. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. It's very exciting. You can find me in our Facebook group and on our Discord server.
Well, listeners, you'll never hear a commercial here on BQN. And if you'd like to help us keep all of our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can join the video version of this very podcast where we get to screw up and you can see that. You can join our reaction shows, script readings, and enjoy our special patron-only back catalog of shows like It's Green and Amy's Math Moments. Visit patreon.com/BQN to sign up and get all the details.
Now, if becoming a patron isn't your thing, you can still support the show by sharing our posts on social media, talking about it with your friends, or hitting the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leaving us a 5-star rating and a written review. That'll help others find the show and build our little community of awesome listeners.
That's you guys, if you didn't know. At this time, we would like to thank all of our patrons, but give a special shout out to our very own associate producer, JJ Seastrom. A special thanks to Graham Kelly for our opening and closing music, and to the one and only Kelvin for our artwork each and every week. Thank you for listening.
We hope you'll join us as we search out
all good things.